It's time for the Bringing Back Basic Gray collaboration, and this month I thought I would make some pages with you all. Hey guys, it's Beth. Welcome. It is time again for the Bringing Back Basic Gray collaboration. This is just a small collaboration that I do each month with my friend Sarah, who's crafting and relaxing here on YouTube, and Kathy, who is Stampin' Cat on Instagram. And this is just where we pull out our Basic Gray papers. Basic Gray made papers years ago, back in the early 2000s. They stopped making paper. I think they do still make fabric, but they don't make paper anymore. And I absolutely loved their papers, their patterns, their styles. And so when they stopped making paper, I started to hoard it. And so Sarah, Kathy, and I got talking one day and realized we need to start pulling out those papers and use them. We're not trying to use it all up. We're just going to play with it each month, enjoy the papers that are in our stash rather than just, I guess, taking comfort. I don't know, do we take comfort knowing something's tucked away in a drawer that we're not using? So anyway, each month we pull out a little bit of our Basic Gray stash, enjoy it, make something fun with it, and just have fun playing with that paper. Anyway, this is January, so this is the first round of the collaboration for the new year for 2023. I have pulled out some colorful papers from my stash, and I'm going to make some scrapbook pages today. Since this is a small collaboration, we do have a little bit of freedom with the length of our videos, since you don't have a ton of videos to watch if you're going to go try and catch us all. But I will kind of show you the sped up process. It won't be like real time. Like I said, I've pulled out a variety. There's Euphoria, a couple from Euphoria. Actually, they're all Euphoria. So the colors work: pinks, greens, blues, some little bit of purple. And I have a couple of different pages that I'm going to try and make with these papers. So I just thought I'd bring you guys along with me. And just a quick side note, I did do some nail stamping again. I played with my Maniology nail stamping kit. I haven't had time to really play with it since I got it back in the fall. And so this time I used the plaids. I used a pink, it's called Cinnablush for my base coat. And then Winter's Kiss for the plaid pattern. And I'm still learning, but I did use the plaid plate. And basically you put your base coat on, and then you put some of the polish on the stamping plate and put your little stamper on there to pick up the polish and stamp it on your nail. So it's pretty fun. Like I said, I'm still learning about like pressure and lining it up and everything, but that was pretty fun. I tried out a couple different of the plaid patterns. So I just wanted to share, since it's stamping, it's somewhat related, and like I said, I've been wanting to try it for a while, and I finally had some time to play with it. So if you're interested at all, I'll link that below. Otherwise, we're going to move on to the scrapbook pages. This first layout that I'm going to do is going to be a 2-photo layout, and I've chosen my 2 patterns, and then I'm using some white cardstock as a background. I did use a page sketch to kind of get me some inspiration and get me started. At this point, I'm just trimming down the pieces to be what size I want them to be. I don't love the stripes on that one piece, but I love the colors, so that's why I kind of opted to go with the smaller piece of the stripe. But I really do like the kind of color burst of the more green pattern. And then the sketch called for some strips at the bottom. I'm just trying to line them up, get them the size that I want, and figure out where I'm going to place them. I did use my silhouette and some pink vinyl to create a title, just to make it easier for myself. And then I brought in some white cardstock to use as a mat for both my photos, and I realized when I trimmed out the mat that I think I trimmed it to 8 inches, not thinking that's, what my two photos would add up to if I stacked them, but not thinking about the fact that I wanted a little matte border. So I had to trim my photos down too. I'm gonna put my papers down just using my ATG to add my pattern paper onto my base page. And then I'm going to add adhesive to my photo block here, but I'm not going to press it down because I have one strip that's going to slide up underneath the photos and then one that's going to go over the top of the bottom of the photo mat there. And these pictures was an insane inflatable race that I did with my husband and my sisters, and our team name was Three Sisters in the SOB, because SOB is my husband's initials, no joke. So he's lived with that all of his life, being the SOB. So we just played off his initials there. And then the 3 didn't come off the first time, which I'm kind of glad, because when I spaced it out, it was a little far away from the word sisters, so that way I could stack it and kind of bring it in a little bit better to the title. I have some Simple Stories sticker sheets that I had got Black Friday maybe. They had a deal on their 12 by 12 sticker sheets, and so I bought some and decided this might be a good time to use some of them just because of the bright colors, and I wanted some words. And so I brought in some of those. And then I'm going to use my small ruler here and a journaling pen, and I'm just going to add lines and my journaling off to the top left up there. And whenever I do lines for journaling, I have to make the lines as I go, because I never know exactly what I'm going to say and how long my journaling will be and how many lines I'm going to need. So usually you'll see me write a line, add the straight line for the next row, and then I'll add that journaling and so on. Bringing in a few more of the stickers from that kind of brighter sticker sheet just to create some more clusters around the page. And at this point, I think I'm done with the first layout. Second layout is another 2 photo layout, but one is horizontal, one is vertical. So I'm going to use the green, the more solid-y green, tone-on-tone green, as my base page for this one. And then I love that kind of, it's like a floral, like a leafy pattern, but the leaves are, I think, in shades of pink and purple. So I really like that. So I decided to make that my bigger piece, and then I'm going to do a strip of that green, like paint splotchy paper at the bottom. And then I realized I cut it too short. I wanted it shorter, but I didn't want it quite as short as I cut it the first time, so I cut a second strip. Going to round my corners of the big white strip and then add fishtail to the right end of that green splotchy piece. And then figure out where I want to put my photos, and then I can get all those pieces glued down. It's funny, whenever I've watched people scrapbook in videos, I've seen several different methods. Some use an ATG, like me, which I like just because it's quick and easy. Some use the double-sided like score tape, but they don't use very much of it. And then some use like all wet glue. So curious, if you're a scrapbooker, what do you use for your main adhesive on your pages? I found some random pink stickers in my stash to create my title. I thought it played well with the pinks in that leafy white background paper there. And I'm just creating the words jump, jump for the trampoline. This was the first year we had our trampoline, and the girls absolutely loved it. And the stickers still seem pretty sticky, but I always like to burnish them down just to be safe, and then realized I needed to still add my dots on the J's, and then wanted to add a comma because I figured I don't use commas very often, and it will fit here. I might as well use it. Again, with the journaling, not adding the black writing lines this time, just journaling on some white cardstock that I'll trim down and will add underneath my photos there. This is a really old sticker sheet with tabs and labels on it, and so there was one that kind of fit with the colors in my layout, so I decided to use it. Also another old sticker sheet there. I'm going to go ahead and adhere down my journaling and title, and then I can start adding some little clusters around, and those little labels there were not sticky at all anymore. So these are a little bit stickier, but I still end up adding some Barely Arts glue on the back of them just to make sure they're going to stay down. Both the label and those stickers I was just using have a little bit of like embossing detail, like some of the letters are raised, and so I just wanted to make sure they were going to stick good. And then brought in those Simple Story sticker sheets too, just to add in some final pieces. I'm still learning how to do clusters. Not always the greatest cluster maker. So I'm still trying to figure out what looks good, kind of grouped together, what all I can add. So still a work in process. I've been scrapbooking forever, but I don't know why I've not been a big user of the embellishment clusters before. Moving on to the last set of layouts, I'm going to do 2 layouts with these same pictures. There's 3 pictures, and for this first layout I'm going to use up these big strips here that I have, and then just kind of add one of the thinner strips across the middle to cover the seam, and then just going to adhere those down. So not a whole lot of detail going into this base page, just trying to use up some of the bits that I have left, the bigger bits anyway. And decide to slide, instead of going right across the middle, I decided to slide that strip, the white leafy strip, up a little bit so it's not quite centered. Then I have my 3 photos. These are random photos of Avery in 2016, just being goofy. Yes, she is laying in the dryer. I found her there one day. She said it was warm. Probably a mom fail moment, but. And then she has a Nutella stash in one, and then a face covered in pumpkin bread batter in the other one. For this second layout here, I'm trying to use that bigger striped piece as just like a main piece over on the left side, and then I want to use that green kind of paint splotchy piece, and then I'm really trying to use the color burst strip, but it takes me a while to figure out how I want to use it, and finally I just end up sticking it onto the end of the strips there. Got that big piece down, and then I'm adding my green piece, and here again really want to add that little burst strip there. Finally decide to tuck it in there on the outer edge, and now I can lay my photos out as well. So this is an example of sometimes when I make a layout for me and one or both of my daughters, sometimes I can make them exactly the same if I have enough supplies. Otherwise, I try to keep the same general layout, but may have to use different papers and sizes of papers. But I try not to make them overly complicated since I did have to create it twice. I thought that Wild and Free from the Simple Story sticker sheet would be perfect title for one of the pages. And then there were some words that were very appropriate for these layouts, like keeping it real, having fun, just being you, things like that were the stickers that I decided to go for. And I went ahead and did journaling for both pages at the same time. So this is one way that I do kind of save time when I'm scrapbooking multiples of the same layouts or photos, that I kind of batch the parts. Like if I do all the journaling for all 3 of them at one time, and then, you know, I build the pages, and I do try and batch the tasks if I can. So even though I'm going through the extra steps to make multiple of the same page, I do try and save time when I can. So I decided, since those pink stickers were still on my desk, I decided to bring those in for title for that second layout, and just went with Goofy. Adding my little fishtail banner there, burnishing those letters down, and then can add that on my layout. I'm going to go ahead and get the journaling and title down, and then I can start embellishing this page as well. I wanted to make sure I knew where those main important pieces were going to go before I started just sticking some embellishments on there. I want to bring in some more of the word stickers there from those sticker sheets and create a little cluster. Being silly, the sweet life, normal is boring. And then I wanted to bring in some pops of color from that sticker sheet as well. But I don't do a whole lot of embellishing on these pages, just because there was a lot going on anyway, and I was just kind of running out of steam at this point. But I did find some more of those older stickers that I thought would work. Free Spirit is what that one says. And then I decided to pop that I love you up there on the top right. And then I'm just looking to see if there's anything else that I might be able to use. I was like, okay, those stars would fit with my title. And then I finally just get to the point where I'm like, okay, enough is enough. We need to just be done. Call it done. All right, so I ended up getting 4 pages done, and I used up the bulk of the papers that I had pulled out. And then I do have a few scraps left, but like I said, I am not trying to use up Basic Grey. I'm just trying to use it and enjoy it. And so rather than force myself to make a scrap card with these, which is probably what I would do, I'm going to throw them back into my Basic Grey scraps, and I might be able to, I have some other papers that are similar colors, so might be able to incorporate these scraps into layouts in the future. So I'm going to hold on to those, but I did get some layouts from 2015 and 16 done, which was my 2022 goal. Still working on. But I hope you guys enjoyed the process and enjoyed watching me enjoy my Basic Grey papers. Again, I believe Kathy is taking this month off, but please be sure to check out Sarah's link in the description box below to see what she made with her Basic Grey supplies this month. If you have Basic Grey, we'd love for you to play along with us. Just use the hashtag bringingbackbasicgrey. Thank you guys so very much for your time today, and hope you all have a very crafty day.